First Class Productions.
Alien Trilogy on PlayStation was my very first FPS. At the time, I was scared of the creatures lurking in the dark. For my review in 2021, I finally beat the game on its hardest setting. Alien Resurrection was a huge step up presentation-wise, but went too far on the difficulty. To this day, I cannot beat that game, and for my review I resorted to cheats at the halfway point. After those, we didn't get an Alien FPS without Predators for over a decade. It wasn't until the dawn of a teaser trailer in 2011 that I became aware of Alien's Colonial Marines. A game that ignores the events of Alien 3 and brings back Michael Biehn and Lance Henriksen as their characters from Aliens?
Shut up and take my money!
Developed by Gearbox Software and published by Sega for PS3, 360 and PC in 2013 after years of production problems, the cracks appeared in the marketing campaign and its dishonesty. The game had nowhere near the quality of the trailers, and Alien fans quickly decided it was one of the worst video games ever made. So you know what I did? I didn't buy it. Why should I spend my money on crap? A few years ago I got it for almost nothing, but it's been sitting on my shelf collecting dust. Having just finished another Alien movie marathon, it got me thinking, is the game really that bad? Should I give it a chance after all this time? Well, why the hell not? I'm curious how it actually plays, and I'll try to ignore everything I've heard about it over the years to form my own opinion. Maybe it's all slander? Please tag along as I join the Colonial Marines.
Gfrom, the gamer, the legend, he's come to show you the way in this world of games. Gfrom reviews.
You can play through the story alone or with a friend. Believe it or not, but I actually found someone who played through the whole game with me. It only took a few years of persuasion and blackmail. That means I first played solo and my second playthrough was in co-op. There are 4 difficulty settings. Solo I picked Soldier because I'm not much of a sharpshooter. In co-op we picked Recruit as I didn't want to bother my friend with this game longer than necessary. I mean, I do technically have a conscience. Throughout the game you rack up experience points and level up your weapons. You keep your weapons and stats on the second run, so that's why I already have all the firepower and some upgrades in that footage. From the get-go, this game had some issues. I'm not sure if this is a problem with my PS3 in particular, but it messed up my console beyond recognition. It looks absolutely atrocious, especially for a game this late in its life cycle. For some reason the trophy messages never pop up on screen, and when I hold down the PS button, the text blocks overlap in an ugly wash. No other game does this. Even my recording device couldn't handle it properly, which I only noticed after I had almost beaten the game. I managed to fix it, but that's why the text is almost unreadable in a lot of my solo footage. Never had this problem before. Sorry about that. Your eyes are just fine. Gameplay wise, you can expect a standard shooter. In addition to guns, we have grenades, a flashlight with batteries that never run out, and a motion tracker. In contrast to the PS1 games where it was constantly shown on the screen, here you need to bring it up with L2. You can't use your weapons as long as the tracker's up, which in my opinion is a brilliant concept. Adds a bite of realism, at least in theory. This is a very linear game, but it's not impossible to get lost. You've gotta watch the motion tracker. See the red text? That's your destination. Experience points are earned by killing enemies, completing different challenges, and finding collectibles. Personally, I never paid attention to the challenges, but managed to reach some of the goals anyway. Call it accidental honor. There are 3 types of collectibles: dog tags, audio logs, and legendary weapons. I found the dog tags hard to see with these ugly graphics, so I eventually stopped actively looking for them. Audio logs are easier to find and they give you more context to what happened. Without them, the plot would run thinner. The legendary weapons are ones from the movie, like Hicks' shotgun and Hudson's pulse rifle. I like the idea, but these weapons can't be upgraded, so they landed in my nah, not gonna happen pile. For some reason they use separate ammo supplies supplies. So the only time I went to the legendary weapons was when I ran out of bullets for the other guns, which almost never happened. Also, it's like, I already have a pulse rifle, why do I need another one? With the experience points you can upgrade your regular, actually useful weapons. I'm talking attachments or sights like laser targeting, for example. You can see how they affect the stats, and not every upgrade is solely positive. Most weapons come with alternate fire, which you can also change here depending on your playstyle. Do you prefer a grenade launcher as alternate fire, or maybe a shotgun does the trick for you? In addition to ammo, you'll also find health and armor all over. In co-op, both players get their energy or ammo back if one of them picks something up. So no destroyed friendships when someone with almost full energy grabs the beef in Streets of Rage when you're the one who desperately needs it. Or the pizza in Turtles.
Mikey, what the hell?
You get to pick a primary and secondary weapon by holding triangle. This submenu is extremely sensitive to your input and a pain in the ass to use. While the PS1 games were heavy on atmosphere and had you taking on all of the aliens all by yourself, here you're more often than not accompanied by at least one of the Marines. Plus, they constantly talk to each other over comms.
That's a major reason this feels more like an action game as opposed to horror, kinda similar to how Aliens feels like a genre shift compared to the original 79 Alien. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's check out the actual missions.
The game opens with a distress call from the USS Sulaco by Corporal Dwayne Hicks, who we all know and love from Aliens. 17 weeks later, the USS Sephora sends a whole bunch of Colonial Marines to check it out. I'll spare you the rest because it's generic military shit talk. We play as Corporal Christopher Winter and take orders from Captain Cruz. Our goal for now is to get the Sulaco flight recorder. Not even a minute in, things explode and Marines go boom. Throughout the game there's some fan service planted here and there. Here's the bottom half of the android Bishop, for example. Cool if gory touch. Whew, what's that? Reminds me of Resurrection, where they only showed the alien for a split second in the beginning before throwing hordes of them at you. Sometimes you need to cut open doors. It's the ones with the red blinking lights. This takes a few seconds and leaves you vulnerable to attacks, but on either playthrough, nothing ever happened to me. So this just feels like a waste of time. Oh boy, this doesn't look pretty. Freaking eggs and guys glued to the wall. Like a barnyard in hell. I'm not taking any chances here. Yep, that's a dead facehugger alright. I still haven't recovered from their attacks in Alien Resurrection. We cut down our homie Keys and oh god, it's happening! Shoot that thing! Phew, the xenomorph ran away. Before we knew what was happening, a bunch of them attacked and my buddy destroyed himself with a grenade within 2 seconds. That's when I started to notice something weird. My character kept switching weapons and doing crazy shit like chucking grenades without my input. I wasn't having a stroke, thank God.
Turns out my second controller is broken.
It took me a while to figure this out, but every time I pushed down L3, which is sprint, my controller went haywire. Especially handy in stressful situations like this. Most of the time I was able to gain back control eventually, but you'll see some wild co-op footage down the line. Need to buy a new PS3 controller. These are all broken. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, the second player can be revived if you're quick enough, and he sometimes gets to defend himself with a pistol. Winter grabs the flight recorder and we make our way to the dropship.
Watch this! Grenade out! Keys, wait!
What are you, stupid?
Are you out of your damn mind?
Our friend O'Neill is here too, and together we fend off waves of snarling monsters. As we escape from the USS Sulaco, Keys has a little problem with a chest burster and hurls another grenade like a dimwit. I hate that guy, and I'm glad he's dead. Throwing random grenades is the job of me and my broken controller. So we put us all in danger, and no, this is not a quicktime event, we just watch as they get back to safety. But we lost the flight recorder.
That was all for nothing.
It's about the experience, right?
Now we need to make it to the cargo bay area, and we discover that Wayland Yutani, also known as The Company, was here before us. That can't be good. On our way there, more aliens crash the party. If they get too close, sometimes you need to mash the square button to prevent a gruesome death. Basically we shoot, walk a bit, and shoot some more. As we open the cargo doors, our ship flies in and the aliens get sucked into space. The mission ends and you get to see some stats. Not a bad start for me.
I'm not expecting a deep story and it's pretty generic so far. The setting is fitting, but I wonder how they'll keep it fresh for another 10 missions.
Spoiler alert, the second mission doesn't feature a single alien warrior. Instead, make way for people. Yep, the way you bullies are up to dirty deeds and wiping out Marines. For most of this mission, we deal with tons of them. While the aliens in mission 1 weren't a real threat, the bad guys seem to be more difficult to get rid of. Their aim isn't half bad, so I found myself dying frequently. Early on, we get to control a power loader. Instead of bitch slapping a Queen Ellen Ripley style, we use it to open the hangar doors like a factory drone. Oh, here are more alien eggs. Oh god, get it off me! What happened? You see, sometimes during co-op, one player gets teleported to the other if he's too far away. Same with NPCs. On some occasions though, both just get teleported for no reason. Like I was just being attacked by a facehugger and now I'm here. We meet up with Bella, who got impregnated by one of those nasty slime balls.
Alright, I pulled it off when I woke up, so nothing's gonna happen to me.
They don't know yet, but the players sure as hell do. This long hallway with vehicles in the middle gave me a jolly beating the first time. I was surprised by the appearance of a heavy enemy or whatever you want to call him. Leaving a trail of death behind, we face another one later, this time outside. Without upgrades, he isn't that easy to take down, and he also likes to hide like a mini B-word. We're already at the part that frustrated me the most on this whole playthrough. The final stretch has us turn off turrets, which you do by getting behind them. We can either go left or right, and I found the right path to be simpler. Then comes this large room filled with trigger-happy idiots and a turret on the far end. My main problem at first was that I found it hard to spot the enemies even with the motion tracker. I died constantly and had to start at the turrets again. Such a time suck. Often I met my crispy demise because they threw grenades and I found it hard to avoid them. All my dreams in ashes. Boom, boom, crunch. I would eventually get better at the game, but at this point it was an embarrassing ordeal. Winter, O'Neill, Bella, and whoever the hell player 2 is reached the bridge to turn off the Sulaco's weapon system, which has been hacked. Of course it's too late and the Sephora gets destroyed. What a bummer.
After 2 playthroughs of Colonial Marines, I can safely say that this is my least favorite mission.
I don't enjoy fighting Wei Yu, and it just goes on and on and on. Turns out crews and some Marines somehow breached the Sulaco and they're waiting for us. Let's not waste any time then. Shit's blowing up left and right. The air's being sucked out. What do I do? Oh. Very rarely do we find big weapons that don't stay in our inventory. We either hold it until it runs out of ammo or drop it. Drop it like it's hot, unless it's a flamethrower. Like here. The first time I played, I didn't realize I didn't get to keep it, so I accidentally dumped it. Whoops. Feels weird to use it on humans and kind of cruel, but I guess the developers wanted them all to burn in hell. Eventually, we get to fight both aliens and humans. I suppose you could just watch them brutalize each other for a while, but we're under pressure, man. Shit, the walkway gave out. I'm a sitting duck down here. There are so many Xenos, but they're not that smart. So much for...
perfect organism.
Reunited with crews, we need to make ourselves a bridge to a console that overrides the doors, all while dodging bullets. A simple but occasionally stressful task. Basically, this mission had a lot of mindless shooting, but with everything exploding around us, at least there's enough spectacle to shake things up a notch. The Marines get on board the dropship. With one of the engines damaged, they have no choice but to land on LV-426. Oh boy. As if the situation wasn't terrible enough, Bishop, who's not the same as in the movie, tells Bella she's pregnant with an alien. Does anybody have an extraction unit somewhere? The crew makes its way to the colony Hadley's Hope under a curtain of rain. Forgot my umbrella. This is where most of the movie took place, which is actually kind of a treat. By now I'm getting tired of the doors. It takes so long for some of them to open. It's probably loading the next area, but come on man, give me something to do. Captain Cruz sets up a command post and breaks the crew into groups. A classic horror movie mistake, tracing back to Scooby-Doo and beyond.
I think we better split up. We'll split up here. We'll split up. I think we should split up. Let's split up.
Do we have to?
We're teaming up with O'Neill to set up 5 motion sensors. The spots are relatively easy to spot, but of course one of them malfunctions, so we need to backtrack. In a predictable turn of events, we get ambushed right after. Dealing with them in tight corridors is stressful, especially when they flank us. How do we protect our new headquarters? By grabbing a turret and plopping it down in the middle of the room.
Winner, get that turret next to the ammo stash.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Winner, get that turret next to the ammo stash.
Nothing happens.
Winner, get that turret next to the ammo stash.
How?
Winner, get that turret next to the ammo stash.
Will you shut up already? Okay, so here's what happened. Usually, you interact with stuff by pressing square. In this case, however, it's R1. On my solo playthrough, I got a message that explained it. By the time I played co-op, I had simply forgotten. Whoops. I don't see how this turret is supposed to make such a big difference, but whatever. Now the job is to get the ladies Bella and Reed back. For this special task, we need the best weapon in the game, the smart gun. Like the flamethrower, we don't get to keep it, so don't waste any bullets.
Remember, short controlled bursts.
What follows is one of 2 parts in this game that stand out to me in a positive way. We're in this really long hallway filled with warriors. The smart gun automatically targets them. This is both fun and intense. Atmospherically, it's the highlight so far in my opinion. After that comes a room filled with stuff. I died here a few times and you know what that means? Starting where we picked up the smart gun. Yeah, even though I genuinely appreciate this part, having to repeat it as many times as I did sure did a number on me. We need to kill every single alien here, but one of them didn't show up. It's there, you can hear it. Constantly. Where the hell is it? There it is! Oh, that wasn't the last one? Okay, there were actually 3 just hanging around. Then this happens. Are we dead? This mission was a mixed bag. It started really slow, had some brainless gunplay in the middle, and ended on a strong note with a corridor and smart gun. What the hell is that thing? This is the so-called Raven, and Winter's cocooned to the wall. He manages to free himself after the Raven runs off. We're on our own with no weapons. How's this supposed to work? Untypical for Colonial Marines, we actually have a level with a heavy focus on stealth. We're sneaking through the sewers and whoa! I didn't see that coming. Better pay attention. Wow, there's Hudson played by Bill Paxton in Aliens. Rest in peace, brother. Oh god, what's all this? Looks like the aliens are frozen or something. This is oddly fascinating and eerie. One of them just moved. Just stand still. So here's the deal. These are the original aliens from the movie. They've been exposed to radiation. The few that are still alive stand up occasionally, but they can't see, only hear. Just stand still when they move and tiptoe when they're still. Without a motion tracker, this makes for some nail-biting gameplay as we have to pay more attention to our surroundings. The only thing pulling me out of the experience a bit is how they walk. It looks comedic almost, like a toddler waddle. Daddy, daddy, I can walk! At one point we pull a lever that makes steam erupt out of a machine. This causes the aliens to run towards it and... splash! They freaking explode into a million pieces. It's gruesome in the best way, I gotta say. This part goes on for a while, but I enjoy the much needed break from the monotonous gunplay. There's O'Neill.
There you go.
Hello. Oh hell, it's the Raven. It's slow as ass, so no real danger I think.
Let's go, man!
We reunite with our buddy and we wait for the door to open. So, how's your family? Finally some fresh air. And we're back to business. Bella tells us that Reed got captured. Another rescue mission. There she is. That was easier than I thought. As Reed is practicing her hacking skills, we must protect her. Less talking, more hacking, please. The Raven enters the scene once more and forces the group to split.
Bella, run!
Still no sign of Bella or Reed. Let's keep moving, Nugget.
Nugget? Now I'm hungry.
Reunited with the group yet again, there's another bullet festival and O'Neill is suddenly missing. Bella and Winter want to find him, but Reed pulls rank. The same Reed that we just rescued.
You can't be serious.
Someone's ungrateful today. What a sassy pants. The final stretch has us run from the Raven. If he catches up to us, it's
Game over, man! It's game over!
It's a bit of try and die, but nothing offensive. So how do we get rid of this ugly beast? Look no further than the famous power loader. We get to be a badass just like Ripley. That's what I thought anyway. This fight is as clunky as it gets. It plays just as shitty as it looks. Bummer. And it goes on for an eternity. In the end, it meets its match. Even though this is my favorite mission, it's still not an award winner. I love the first half in the sewers. I wish we got more of that. The second half, not so much. The finale being kind of a joke.
Bella, we cannot risk the lives of multiple Marines to save one. We understand what you're going through, but it's hard to trust someone who won't be alive in a few hours.
Fuck did you just say to me? You know, I was gonna save this last bullet for myself.
Whoa! It's fine, we're fine! Just put it down, Bella! Bella, put it down.
Ha! Women. Right?
You just pointed a gun at a superior officer.
Last I checked, your orders were to put one in your skull should the time.
Stop it! Just, let's get back to operations, alright? God damn it, you two!
Cruz grants permission to find a way to get that thing out of Bella. First, we're required to download and uplink the manifest list of all personnel in the facility.
Sure, there's no time pressure or anything. Take your merry time.
Winter, O'Neill and Bella take a surface crawler close to the facility. By this point, my controller was going rogue. This is not my doing. Eventually I got it handled, just in time to deal with extraterrestrials.
Jesus Christ! They're spitting acid! Fucking acid!
That's right, now they can even damage us from afar. The so-called spitters are all over this cave, but they stand out, so you can't really miss them. We reach an abandoned Wayland module. Abandoned by humans anyway.
Jesus Christ, Nugget, go ahead and make all the noise.
You had to tell her about the Nugget thing. Just slipped out. I got point from here so we don't alert others.
What just happened? Oh, we both fell into a hole in the floor at the exact same time. Both aliens and turrets attack us. I got stuck here at first. We can't get behind the turrets from here and there seems to be no way forward. After running back and forth for too long, I realized I can jump up here to get to the other side. You hear that turret firing without pause? Yeah, one of the AI characters isn't very good at hiding. They can't die, so this goes on for the rest of time. Where did you get your training?
Well, I'll be a kangaroo's asshole. There is a manifest on here.
Not exactly what I wanted to imagine, but okay, mission accomplished.
Too bad we caught the attention of some dimwits who soon after also have to deal with the aliens. Yeah, this one's not that memorable except for the debut of the Spitters. The rest was fairly standard fare. Turns out Wayland Yutani has captured a Marine from the Sulaco. Now we have to bring him back alive and also save poor Bella. We blast our way to the medical facility. O'Neill goes apeshit and holds a scientist at gunpoint. He explains that there's no way to get the alien baby out. What about the portable dock unit? Oh wait, alien resurrection is in the future, so maybe it wasn't invented yet. Winter knocks out the scientist and just in that moment, the chestburster breaks free. That's what I call timing. What an image.
Anyway, next goal, captured Marine.
Sometimes the scientists will activate an alarm when they see us.
Emergency containment protocols activated. Alarm! Emergency containment protocol aborted.
I guess we're supposed to be stealthy, but it's pointless. Kill everyone and turn off the alarm. Done. We discovered that Wayland is doing a bunch of disgusting experiments involving aliens and people. Have they no morals? Can't shoot the facehuggers off their faces. Disappointing. At least visually, we finally get to see something lively again. Outside, a freaking armored vehicle tries to ruin our lovely field trip. This next part gave me trouble at first. Not only is the vehicle back, but bad guys crowd up the place. One of them has a goddamn RPG. You think that's maybe taking it a little too far, mister? After a few tries, I cleared all the guys and then I had to maneuver a crane payload over the vehicle and drop it. Bye-bye. Wanna see what happens when I press square again? Nothing. But I still have to wait as long as it did to move the crane. So lame. In the next building we need to locate and disable 3 power cells. Do I have to buy them for 120 orbs first? They're found quickly. This allows us to shut down the module which turns off the security grid. Is that a good decision? Find out in the next mission. Same alien time, same alien channel. By the standards of this game, this was one of the better ones I think, because I really got pulled into the setting. That doesn't mean it was spectacular in any sense of the word. I guess I'll take what I can get. With the power out, shit's about to go down. The Marines surely didn't know about the alien queen, which now breaks loose and annihilates everyone in sight. She is huge.
Do I smell a boss fight?
Not yet. More of the same old, same old. This level dishes up absolutely nothing new gameplay-wise. The only noteworthy thing is that we actually get to the spot from the original Alien with the many eggs. I got a flashback to when I was playing Alien Trilogy on PlayStation when I arrived. The setting is stunning, no question. But I'm kind of over the rest by this point. We find the captured Marine, but O'Neill gets rightfully pissed as he figures out crews knew Bella couldn't be saved all along. They argue like usual, but it's time for the great reveal. To no one's surprise, it's Hicks. They talk and talk and talk. So there's a FTL capital ship that we need to get to in order to leave the planet.
There's more than 100 Xenos heading right for Hadley's Hope.
That's just wonderful.
Mission 9 rolls off where we left off. It's insane how many of them show up. The next section is the only part where I got stuck, for a surprising reason. In this mazy area we need to find Marines. Here are the first few. There's one behind this door firing an endless stream of bullets if we don't intervene. But then what? I was at a loss. O'Neill followed me for a while, then went back downstairs again, but there's nothing new to do here either. I ran around aimlessly, wondering if I was mid-glitch. I restarted the checkpoint several times, but I didn't know what else to do.
Like so many times in my gaming career, I realized at one point that I'm an idiot.
What I wasn't aware of is that when you pull up the motion tracker, you see where your next objective is. I barely used that thing, so I completely failed to realize that. Turns out there's a Marine stuck underneath a shelf. Didn't see you there, buddy. What's going on? Why can't I do anything? Hello? Oh my god, I hate this shit. I'm stuck here forever. Had to restart the freaking console. It's getting kinda crowded here. What follows might be the shootout to end all shootouts. The aliens come in droves. It's extraterrestrial overload. At least the developers were darlings and gave us an endless supply of ammo. Outside we're greeted by yet another new type of alien. The Crusher. It's huge and charges us like a bull. The idea is to sidestep and hit it from the side. In co-op, this was a joke because it seemed to focus 100% on my friend, so I had all the time in the world to put it down. Not a great fight, but at least it tried something different. As if we hadn't fired enough bullets, there's another war zone ahead of us. Here we need to remove 3 fuel lines from the drop pod ship. Did I panic?
No.
Well, maybe a bit at first, but then I changed my tactic. For some reason it was simpler when I started with the fuel line in the back and worked my way back to the starting area. Of all the bullet hell levels, this one takes the crown in terms of pressing that shoot button. I didn't care for it. Hicks explains how he survived, but leaves out some key details.
The 4 cryopods ejected safely, but I obviously wasn't in mine.
Who was it then? I want answers.
The only way to get off this planet is to capture the FTL ship before Michael Wayland leaves. We find another spicy McFlamethrower just in time for another egg-infested McMuffin of a tunnel. Facehuggers are hard to spot sometimes, but they're more annoying than anything else. Flames help though. The noises they make are so weird. Here again. 3 AA guns need to be destroyed, and finally we get to use an RPG ourselves. Well, 3 to be exact. How many guys work for Wayland?
Not as many after this day, that's for certain.
Out of nowhere the queen shows up, but she can't be killed. After dealing some damage, she takes off though, like a diva. Looks like we're missing the FTL. Same as the previous stage, this was empty calories, and I'm glad there's only one mission left. They have a quote-unquote genius idea to get on the FTL. Just watch.
Reed, do it!
Weapons hot! 2 away! Brace for impact!
Cruz is stuck in the cockpit. We've got to rescue him, but whoops, the queen made it on board. That makes things more complicated. It seems the only way to get her out is to use the cargo launcher. Of course, the automation system is offline. Basically, we need to pull 3 switches with her regal majesty on our ass. While I took some damage from her, she never actually killed me. So this was done in no time. All that's left is to wait until she's in front of the cargo launcher and boom, it went through her. Oh, never mind. Should you miss? Well, shame on you, because then you have to pull all 3 levers again. In my opinion, this is a disappointing finale, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's over too quickly. Well, I'm glad it's over nonetheless. The queen climbs back up, but Cruz sacrifices himself. How noble. I don't believe for a second that she actually dies here, but it's not important. Our heroes confront Michael Wayland and O'Neill really loses it.
If anyone says her name, I swear to God I will blow his head the fuck off! Please don't do not speak to me, you sack of shit!
Bishop tries to calm him down.
I'm not playing around, Bishop. If you don't move, I will shoot right through you.
No, you won't, because Bella wouldn't want you to.
I said don't say her name!
Bella.
To my surprise, it's Higgs who pulls the trigger. Look at that, it was just another android. They connect Bishop to it and that's how the game ends.
We got everything.
In addition to the story, there's also multiplayer, which I can't play. I'm assuming the servers have been offline for a while, but even the offline setting doesn't work. Maybe it never worked. Who knows and who cares?
Leave me a comment if you actually played this game when it came out.
I thought I could play some old school split screen couch multiplayer, but it won't let me. Have they never played the likes of Time Splitters 2? There aren't even bots. You can't fight a CPU? It's a shame because there was the possibility of playing as a xenomorph. However, there's a single-player DLC with 4 missions that explains what Higgs went through before he got captured. While I had no interest at first, I decided to buy it anyway just to see what it's like. I've heard good things about it, so let's take a look at Stasis Interrupted. The DLC starts just before Ripley kills herself in Alien 3. Cut to 2 people captured by Robo Michael Wayland.
I don't know where the message is.
It's right here.
That guy gets shot and the other one, of course, is Higgs. Wayland talks about how they diverted the research transport vessel Legato to intercept the Sulaco. This is where the first mission happens. In a flashback, we take control of Lisbeth, who rips a dead facehugger off her face. Understandable. It wasn't respecting her boundaries. Her buddy Ethan had one too and meets his end quickly. I guess our time is ticking too. As we have no weapons, we have to rely on stealth to get away from here. Luckily, the facehuggers ignore us completely. Flamethrower guys and turrets are the bigger problem. The latter especially gave me a hard time. From an atmospheric standpoint, this is already more intriguing than almost anything we saw in the main game. The loading times are still atrocious though. It took almost 40 seconds for the elevator door to open. I'm all out of small talk at this point.
Stop wasting my time!
Oh, hey there. Okay, we've got warrior company. Warriors for days. There's an area where we have to get past turrets and soldiers. We can take a lift up, sneak to the other side where we move a crane so that we can cross the room again. Even though aliens take care of the soldiers, the turrets always got me. At one point I waited too long and the aliens showed up, massacred everyone and then left like it was no big deal. This way I could turn off the turrets and just walk to the door. What was the point of the whole crane thing? Am I missing something? We meet Andrew, who's just as terrified as Lisbeth. He's looking for his girl, we're looking for our parents. We pick up a headset and a motion tracker. Shortly after, they hear something and hide in lockers. Lisbeth gets spared, but poor Andrews gets the short end of the stick, and by that I mean a hole in his head. The alien gets shot by a Wei Yu dude who also gets knocked out right before discovering us. Oh, that's the guy who got shot in the opening cutscene, Stone. Now we're teaming up with him and this other guy, Turk. Oh yeah, we scoop up a few audio logs here too, but no dog tags. For a while nothing much happens until we slink by some guys and set some facehuggers free to get rid of them. Maybe not the smartest decision in the long run, but oh well. For now we're safe because we pick up a bunch of weapons including a flamethrower. You know where this is going. Stealth time is over. Burn them all. Well, this is awkward. Lisbeth doesn't say a word. You just sit there next to all these dead people and cry your eyeballs out.
We should care? The moral of this game is that you can shoot your way through your problems.
In the final area, we make our way up to our parents who didn't make it. No surprise there. Lisbeth warns Stone to get off the ship as she decides to blow up the ship in a fit of rage.
God damn it, they're gonna pay.
First she has to cap a bunch of people and then aliens join the party as well. Then comes the big moment, which drags. Do we have to watch this whole sequence? Lisbeth is surrounded by monsters just as the baby bursts out of her chest and the legato explodes. This was definitely better than almost anything we saw before, at least until we got weapons. I still prefer the Raven, but I did relish the parts where I could take in the atmosphere. Maybe this DLC has potential.
No more.
Back in the interrogation room, Wayland and Hicks exchange pleasantries. In another flashback, we see Stone and Turk discovering Hicks in his cryopod on the legato. Then Wei-Yu people show up and we finally get to see what happened. So in Alien 3, Turk was mistaken for Hicks. I don't buy it, but at least it's an explanation.
Do we get to play as Hicks?
No!
Sadly not, but I'm fine with living through the final moments of Stone. He's equipped with only 2 weapons, one of which is a sidearm. So we're not exactly overpowered when dealing with Wei-Yu. I can't help it but laugh at Hicks' pose. Something's off about his look.
We went through a lot together.
Sometime later we find the pulse rifle.
I can't really think of anything else to say. I'll talk to you more once we wake up.
Yeah, she sounds nothing like Newt, sorry. Even though it seems like a daily standard shooting orgy, one thing sets this mission apart from the rest. There's hardly any ammo. I don't think I'd have much of a problem with aliens, but with the way you guys flailing around, I keep missing my shots. That means I was actually worried about running out of ammo, so I had to make every hit count. The weapons don't have upgrades, which doesn't help the situation. By the time the Xenos got on my butt, I barely had any ammo and eventually did run out. Thankfully the sidearm has infinite ammo, but it's not the best weapon as you can imagine. I pulled through, oddly enough. Now we see Stone's call with Lisbeth from his perspective. So how do we escape?
Meet me on the starboard weapon deck. I've got an idea.
If you say so. I got stuck on one part where we fight a bunch of Wei-Yu guys. One part does stick out. We get to control the guns of the Sulaco. Yeah, we're aboard the Sulaco now. Engage! All we do is fire 4 shots at the Red Cross, but I appreciate that they mix it up a bit. And then we see the legato explode. In the final stretch, Stone has to crawl through vents. Getting more alien resurrection flashbacks here. This is tense and claustrophobic, as it should be. You know these scenes are working when you have to gasp for air while you're playing. Just don't have an anxiety attack. In the end, they escape the Sulaco and keep busy playing cards. Can't say I enjoyed this stage. The shortage of ammo made things more dire, but ultimately there was little we hadn't seen before. Yet again, we see that scene from Alien 3 where Ripley destroys herself. Now, however, it's revealed that Hicks and Stone witnessed her gracious fall. Too bad they let themselves get captured. A fatal mistake in the case of Stone. Now we've caught up to the scenes with Hicks and Wayland's captivity. There's a twist. Fed up with Wayland's insane ways, the scientist Levy, who was in the room the whole time, turns on him. He frees Hicks and together they escape.
Do I finally get to play as Hicks?
I guess we'll have to see what can be done about that.
Nope, it's Levy. This time, however, we're geared up. Pretty much full arsenal, but ammo is still scarce compared to the main campaign. It's not as bad as in Mission 2 though. The worst part of this new level is the outset. Not only are there plenty of human enemies, but one of them has an RPG. Who fires an RPG in a building? I died too many times to count. For some reason, the game always resets my weapon choices in the DLC. I want a shotgun as my secondary weapon, and then after I die, I'm surprised when it switches to the pulse rifle instead. Why did they change the rules?
Thanks, I hate it.
Just when I thought they're all gone, more appeared behind me. This time I know. Bam, bitches! So we're on LV-426 and this is a sight to behold. But then came another section that kicked my colonial booty just as much as the first, thanks in part to another RPG lunatic.
Yep, lock me out. You get past security? Please. Yep, lock me out. Can you get past security?
Is this an oversight? Why did we hear the same thing twice? You know what? Nothing surprises me anymore. For the first time in this DLC, we're outside fighting aliens. To change things up, we step right into a cave full of spitters. Later, an armored vehicle tries to ruin our day that's been shitty already, but we can just run away from it. This mission was brief compared to the other two, but due to my frequent deaths, it didn't feel like it. No gold stars for this one. Same old boring gameplay and nothing exciting story-wise. otherwise.
If only I knew the worst was still ahead of me.
The last mission picks up where we left off, still in Levy's shoes. We enter another cave, but this time we get other colors than just black, gray, and blue, which I welcome.
Ah, shit.
That's a lot of eggs. Didn't see a single facehugger though, but lots of warriors. Here we also get the kind that hide, sometimes with no subtlety, and jump at us, forcing us to smash the square button like our lives depend on it. Remember kids, be there, be square. My problem with them is that it might be scary the first time, but then it's just annoying if the same alien jumps at you like a triple threat. They're so fast, it's hard to react, even if you know where they are. At least the setting appeals to me. In a twist I didn't expect, another Crusher acts as a mini-boss, this time in a harder battle. Hicks didn't help all that much. We need to make it through their labs, but they're flooded with gas. Levy has a gas mask, but Hicks doesn't, so we're on our own. This feels silly because all we do is go in a few steps, pull a lever, and leave.
Then comes a part that annoyed me so hard to a point where I got legit angry.
Levy works himself through a gas chamber with aliens. Oh look, we can blow up some eggs. And there's a dead facehugger. Oof, not so dead after all. Anyway, where was I? Right, gas chamber. After we make it out of there, we open a door and reunite with Hicks. There's another gas chamber, however. This time we gotta open 3 vents to flush out the poison gas. This area is rather large and the aliens here don't run towards us like brain-dead torpedoes. No, it's the hiding kind and they can deal serious damage. The organisms are finally remembering how to be perfect. Open the last vent. One more button to push. Oh, where did he come from? What? The checkpoint is all the way back before the second gas chamber? I have to make it through that one and the big one with the 3 valves again? That was almost 10 minutes. I'm finally at the last button. Just have to get out of here. What? No! I can't believe this. All this shit again?
Why is this checkpoint so awful?
It's the most ruthless checkpoint I've ever seen. Why can't there at least be one after that second gas chamber? It took me almost half an hour to win this part. So frustrating. Right after that comes the next knuckle biter. Set up 2 turrets and survive the ambush. There are so many of them. At least we get to refill all of our ammo. Yeah, it's insane what they throw at us here. When they attempt to send Hicks' message we saw at the very beginning of the main game, Wayland interferes. This is why only parts of the message get sent. We see the alien queen get captured and listen to Hicks' message again. Then the DLC finally ends. I absolutely hate the final mission. Easily the worst part of the entire thing for me. I just got really over it all, especially after that checkpoint fiasco.
Having played through the game and its DLC, it's time to talk about the music and sound.
As I said before, some of the cast from the second movie reprised their roles here after 25 plus years. I'm a big fan of Lance Henriksen and he does a fine job as usual.
As for these colonists you seem to be so concerned about, dregs of humanity, worthless trash.
Michael Biehn seems a little off, if not to say bored.
Near Fury, the ship went into alert, and I was pulled out of cryo as the ranking and only Marine.
I've heard that he wasn't happy with how the developers handled this project, so who am I to judge? It's a bit distracting, I'll just say that much. Such a shame because I adore his work in Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
The rest of the cast is alright. They didn't exactly get the best material to work with, so it's mostly an onslaught of shouting and occasionally even swearing.
Do not speak to me, you sack of shit!
It's what they were going for, but it lacks the charm of the Aliens cast. With all the shooting and constant array of enemies, it's overbearingly loud for the majority of the game. I know it's a freaking shooter, but I found it tiring nonetheless to hear the same sounds on loop. The few times they were going for a moody atmosphere, it worked quite well I think, the sewers being my personal highlight audio-wise. It's genuinely creepy. The soundtrack was composed by Kevin Riepel, known for his music for the Gears of War games. He was clearly inspired by the works of Jerry Goldsmith and James Horner from Alien 1 and 2 respectively.
Occasionally you hear bits and pieces from the movies and that always brightens my day.
Sure, during combat we get rather generic action music, but these pieces do their job. It's the comma tracks that I like best because they sometimes give me the illusion that I'm playing a decent game. The standout track is probably the title screen music, which feels grand and almost majestic. I might have heard it a bit too much though, which is why I won't put it on heavy rotation in my free time. All in all, I consider the music to be the best part of this game, and I don't want to imagine what the experience would have been like with a lesser score.
Let's wrap this up.
Aliens Colonial Marines is not the worst game I've ever played, far from it. However, it's obviously a half-assed attempt by the developers. It fails both as a shooter and as part of the Alien lore. Even if you ignore that they lied to us with a promising trailer, this game doesn't deliver on any front. Visually, it's one of the ugliest games I've come across on the PS3. That's a joke, considering it came out in 2013, near the end of its life cycle. The graphics are plain bad, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't care all that much about perfect visuals for the most part. The environments are mostly bland and the textures, how do I put it gracefully, simply suck. Look how long it takes for them to even load sometimes. The lighting is cheap too. Even with the flashlight, you often can't really see well and it all just blends together like an uninspired pile of mashed potatoes. The frame rate takes a nosedive when it gets busy, especially in co-op. The facial animations aren't very human either. I know this is the PS3 and can't be compared to what we have nowadays, but this is the same console that gave us the likes of Uncharted, The Last of Us, and LA Noire. They're dead-eyed and stiff, feeling like soulless mannequins. Are they all secretly androids? Even their animations give me the jerky feeling of playing a PS2 game. I like the alien designs though. At least they did a decent job in that regard, even adding new ones like the Spitters or Crushers. Thankfully the soundtrack does its job, otherwise I might not have pulled through. They try to spice up the settings occasionally, but mostly it's known terrain we're dealing with, hardly giving us any surprises.
I'm aware they might have been limited by the setting, but I imagine creative minds could have done something about that.
Even as someone who doesn't play shooters all that much, I can see that it doesn't manage to deliver a compelling experience compared to other games in the genre. The aliens show up way too much and most of them have idiotic AI. The biggest joke of all is that a freaking typo in the game's code is responsible for this. That's both outrageous and hilarious. I don't think they're usually a challenge. Like here, I just stand here, shoot one, wait for the next, shoot that one, and so on. Might as well put them on a conveyor belt in front of a meat grinder. It's one reason I didn't use the motion tracker as often as you'd think. On rare occasions though, they come out of nowhere and kill you instantly, which is something I hate with a passion about Alien Resurrection. The way you people I like even less. They're actually harder to deal with because their aim is passable, and when they throw grenades, it's usually instant death for me.
It feels wrong to complain about too much shooting in a shooter, but if the main thing just isn't fun, I'm longing for something else.
That's why I was so pleasantly surprised by the stealth sections in the sewers or the beginning of the DLC. They're not masterful, but that's where the setting and atmosphere get a chance to shine. I so wish we got more of that, then maybe I wouldn't be so bitter about it. As it is, you're mostly walking through corridors, and even though there might be 3 doors, you can only open 1. You can mostly ignore exploring because there are rarely any pickups that aren't in plain sight. Personally, I didn't care for the dog tags or the challenges. The weapon upgrades are fine, I'd say, and I dig some of the alternate firearms. Mixes things up a little bit. The weapons themselves are okay. It's what you'd expect from a game in this setting. My highlight in that regard is the smart gun. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that to pick up items, you need to look at them and press square. It's not enough to look in the general direction. You need to stare at it. It's very picky, which really sucks in stressful situations. I can't tell you how many times I accidentally reloaded my weapon instead. On the other hand, if I want to reload near a door, it closes the door instead. Why does it have to be the same button? There were some parts I found harrowing, especially in Stasis Interrupted, but mostly I could blast through.
I know I didn't pick the harder difficulties, but why would I want to spend even more time with this game?
It's without question the least scary Alien game I've covered so far. It's not really a horror game. Most of the time you're not alone. There's usually someone by your side and there's a lot of dialogue. It gives you the feeling of being part of a team, which I appreciate. In that respect, it does the movie justice. The story isn't all that exciting though. It's hard for me to care about a bunch of cliched, testosterone-filled machos. It cannot replicate the charm of the Aliens cast. I like the idea of Hicks not dying off screen in Alien 3. That's one of the biggest FUs in cinema history. The execution, however, feels lackluster, and I understand why Michael Michael Biehn himself wasn't satisfied with the product. What made me happy was the inclusion of Lance Henriksen. He has one of the best voices, and as a side note, I watched every episode of Millennium a couple of years ago, where he has the lead role. The show isn't that great, but that man is one powerhouse actor. The DLC is interesting story-wise, but except for the first mission, I just didn't care anymore for the gameplay. I'm not even mad online multiplayer didn't work. In co-op we had a decent time, but mostly we were just making fun of all the technical hiccups. My friend hadn't played it before and he too was baffled about the same things as me. Like, what's up with the random teleportation when we're standing right next to each other? But let's ask him directly.
So, how did you like this game?
Kacke.
Kacke.
It comes down to blah factor. It's just a boring, uninspired, technically weak and repetitious mess that most of all disappoints in all important areas. In my ranking of the Alien games I've reviewed so far, I'm placing it in the middle. I'd still rather play this than Alien Resurrection because I can actually beat it, but of course I'm aware that the PS1 title is objectively a better game. Alien Trilogy is miles ahead of the competition though in my eyes.
In the end, I'm not stoked about the fact that I gave this game a shot. I could have spent all that time doing something else, like planting trees in the desert.
Aliens Colonial Marines is a game that I can't confidently recommend to anyone. If you're just interested in the story, look up a video instead. In my opinion, it's not worth dealing with all the things I had to go through. Should you decide to give it a shot, go for the PC version instead. There are patches that make it more tolerable.
Luckily for the Alien franchise, it wasn't the end, because just 1 year later came a game with a different approach and absolutely nailed it. But that's a story for another video. The next video.
Okay, 3, 2.
So, how did you like this game?
Kacke.
Kacke.
Scheiße. Sorry, das war
ja, alles gut.
Unüberlegt.
So, how did you like this game?
Kacke. Ich habe einen kleinen Schimmel.
Kacke.
Kacke. Oh. War nicht so gut. Scheiße.
Scheiße.
Verdammt! Scheiße! Okay, warte.
Scheiße.
Scheiße. Ey, das kann nicht wahr sein. Scheiße, wieso passt das denn da nicht?
Sonst tu einfach
so. Doch die ganze Zeit. Nee, ich kann auch so ein Bier in so eine Tasche tun, ey Gott nochmal. Ah! Was Scheiße! Nein, was soll das denn jetzt auf einmal? Das kann doch alles nicht wahr sein, ey. Oh, das gibt es nicht.
Hey everyone, this is Gfrom. Thank you so much for watching episode 3 of season 5. Feel free to rate, comment, subscribe and follow me on social media. I'll see you later. Have a nice day.